Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story about turning corporate pettiness into sparkling payback. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. The petty cost of corporate cheapness. My company sends everyone to training every year, and it's usually for about a week. You're put up in a nice hotel, and your meals for dinner are reimbursed. The hotel has breakfast in the morning, and you have to eat there. Your lunch is covered by the training department, and it's usually a catering company. For dinner, it's common to go out and spend a lot. I don't know what the limit is, but some people have had an $80 meal, and it was covered. I'm pretty simple, and a sandwich would keep me happy. I've been with my company for years, but my first time there, I woke up thirsty one night and wanted some bottled water and went to the hotel lobby and bought a couple of bottles of water for about $2. No big deal. It'll be reimbursed, or so I thought. After I got back and turned in my receipts, I got an email from some corporate lady a few days later saying that everything will be reimbursed except the bottled water. Now, maybe in the email context was lost, but I asked why the water wasn't covered. A simple answer explaining that only if purchased with meal would have sufficed, but this woman said that my room should be accommodating or something like that. I don't remember verbatim what the response was, but I took it as snarky, and it seemed as if she wanted me to drink from the sink. Fast forward a year later, when I went for my annual training, the first night I went out, I made sure to go to a nice steakhouse that rhymes with malt glass. In that meal, I ordered not one but 2 large glass bottles of water to take back with me to my room. These bottles were about $17 a piece, but in the end, I was reimbursed because it was purchased with my meal. One thing to note, literally no one in the company cares that OP spent more money. They care that the rules for spending that money were followed. It was budgeted for and could be accounted for within their rules one way, but not the other. This is all they cared about. And our second story. Bagging justice. How I stopped a grocery store thief. So I work at a big chain grocery store in the southeastern United States. No, not the one with the awesome subs. I usually work the desk or self-checkout. Now, both these positions place me right by an entrance/exit, each at an opposite side of the front end. Since our LP goes as far as my manager following sketchy people or known thieves around, the front-end employees, desk, self-checkout, cashiers, bagger, are a big part of alerting them to any concerns, although we're not expected to approach the customers' crooks ourselves. Well, today was a bit of a different story. The service desk is right across the aisle from Register 1, and there's an exit if you walk between these two. I had no customers at the desk, so I was helping at Register 1, just bagging and chatting with the customer, when I see a very full cart with no bags pushed by a woman go slowly past. I look over and she looks like she's heading straight for the door. Now, in the case that a person tries to walk out with a cart full of groceries, sans payment, we're supposed to offer to ring them up, at which point they'll mysteriously change their mind, not need any of this stuff, and leave. I don't do this quite yet as she's on the phone and I figure she's just trying to get better reception. Happens a lot because service is bad in the store, but I keep my eye on her and glance at her every few seconds. I look over my shoulder for her and lo and behold, she's halfway out the door. I dart over and this predictable conversation ensues. It's raining, for context. Me. Good afternoon, have you checked out already? Customer crook. Oh, yeah. Me. May I please see your receipt? See. Oh, sure, it's right here. Starts digging through bag. Oh no, you know what? I gave it to my friend. She's pulling the car around so we can load this all up. I'll bring it into you when she gets here. Me. Oh, you know what? Why don't you just wait here inside so you don't get wet? There's even a little bench to sit on. Which register did you go through? I can just check with them. I start pushing the cart in for her. See. Oh, okay. I just checked out down there. She waves her hand at the other end of the store. I'll just wait for my friend. They'll bring you the receipt. She starts browsing around, and I keep working, but keeping my eye on her. She makes her way to the other end of the store and quietly goes out the other door empty-handed. So I push the cart to the go-back section that has a couple of employees stationed by it and let them know what happened, and to keep an eye on it until it gets put back, just in case she comes back. I go let my manager know, but I don't think it's much of a big deal because this happens at least twice a month. He looks concerned, asks who stopped her, and looks puzzled when I tell him it was me. Next thing I know, my supervisor and all three of the managers in the store that day are walking into the security room. A few minutes later, one comes out and gives me this speech. Yeah, she didn't check out and definitely almost got away with that. I looked in the cart. It's almost $1,000 worth of stuff. You really didn't have to do that, but we appreciate it so much. You did everything right. We all know what she looks like, and we'll keep an eye out for her. Here, this is for you. It's a $10 gift card. I know it's not much, but we just wanted to say thank you and let you know how much we appreciate what you did. Isn't that awesome? I didn't even think it was a big deal. Nice work. Keep in mind that the people who do this are not feeding their families out of desperation. They're participating in organized retail crime. When they get away with a cart full of high-value groceries, they often post a flash sale on a private Facebook group or elsewhere where they sell the items to other thieves or those who don't mind supporting this. And our last story. The war for the parking spot. Neighbor versus dash cam. I, 27-year-old male, often spend weekends at my girlfriend Sarah's, 25-year-old female, apartment, which is located in a neighborhood with a mix of apartment buildings and single-family homes. Sarah's apartment doesn't have guest parking, but the surrounding streets are public with free parking. It's a small area, and while parking is tight, it's still first come, first served. Most of the nearby houses don't have driveways, which means the street parking can get competitive. One of these houses belongs to a guy I've come to know as Neighbor Dude, late 30s, early 40s. He seems to think he owns the street in front of his house. A few months ago, I parked my car, a perfectly ordinary sedan, in front of his house when visiting Sarah. As I was walking to her apartment, a car pulled up behind me and Neighbor Dude rolled down his window. Neighbor Dude, hey, can you move your car? That's my house and I'd like to park there. I had several bags in my hands, clothes, food, and work stuff, plus it was snowing. I sighed but decided to be polite. I figured maybe it was some rare emergency situation. Begrudgingly, I moved my car further down the street despite the inconvenience of carrying my stuff in the freezing cold. At the time, I didn't think much of it. But things escalated. Fast forward to a few weekends ago, I parked in the same spot in front of Neighbor Dude's house since it was open and convenient for carrying my bags. As I was walking towards Sarah's apartment, I noticed a car pulling up behind mine. It was Neighbor Dude again with his wife in the passenger seat. She was making exaggerated hand gestures, clearly annoyed. Neighbor Dude, hey, can you move your car again? We just got groceries and that's our spot. Me, sorry, but this is a public street and I have somewhere to be. I'm not trying to be difficult, but I'm parked legally and I'm not moving my car this time. His face twisted into a scowl and I could see his wife muttering something about me under her breath. They didn't push further, so I walked away and thought that was the end of it. The next day, I went to my car to run an errand, and that's when I saw it. Scrawled in the dirt on my back windshield were the words, "A-hole" and "jerk." I was livid. I marched over to Neighbor Dude's house and knocked on his door. He opened it with an innocent look on his face. Me, hey, did you or someone in your house write insults on my car? Because this is getting ridiculous. Neighbor Dude, acting surprised. What? No, I have no idea what you're talking about. Me, look, you've asked me to move my car twice, and now this happens. If this keeps up, we're going to have a serious problem. Neighbor Dude snapping back, maybe if you didn't park in front of someone else's house, people wouldn't get upset. At this point, his wife joined the conversation. Neighbor Dude's wife, you're being disrespectful. We've lived here for years, and everyone knows this is our spot. You're just some random guy parking where you don't belong. Me, it's a public street. You don't own this spot, and you need to stop acting like you do. The argument ended with Neighbor Dude slamming the door in my face, and I left, determined to deal with this in my own way. That night, I installed a dash cam with a parking mode feature. If they wanted to keep harassing me, I was going to have proof. Sure enough, the next weekend, I parked in the same spot, and Neighbor Dude couldn't resist. When I checked the footage the next morning, there he was, sneaking out of his house late at night to scrawl more insults on my windshield. This time he added, "Learn respect," and tipped a trash bag against the back of my car. It was all caught in crystal clear HD. Armed with the footage, I returned to their house the next day and knocked on the door again. Neighbor dude answered, looking annoyed. Me, holding up my phone. Care to explain this? Neighbor dude, defensive. What's that supposed to be? Me, it's footage of you vandalizing my car and dumping trash on it. This stops now or I'll be involving the police. His wife came to the door, and when she saw the footage, her face turned pale. Neighbor dude's wife, oh my God, what are you doing? Are you stupid? Neighbor dude, grumbling, it's not a big deal. He's the one parking where he shouldn't. Me, if you keep harassing me, I will press charges. This is your final warning. His wife dragged him inside, shouting at him for being an idiot, and I left feeling vindicated. Since that day, neighbor dude hasn't said a word to me, and the passive-aggressive antics have stopped completely. Sarah and I still park in that spot whenever it's available, just to remind him that he doesn't own the street. Occasionally, I'll catch him glaring at me from his porch, but he knows better than to start anything again. It was nice of you to move the first time, but not obligatory. I would have done the same, and if neighbor weren't a jerk, I'd preferentially park elsewhere when convenient, but honestly, since he was, I wouldn't go out of my way to be difficult, but also wouldn't do him any more favors. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.